talking a little bit about building a little on our past and trying to move from there going forward in terms of planning. For the county, one of our major goals has to do with infrastructure and what we do there, planning going forward and building on what our past leaders have left for us and built for us to the present day. I'm going to focus a little bit today on 3 particular areas: mental health initiatives, sewer infrastructure, which Mayor Black talked about a little bit, and the Papillion Road expansion. Just a little quote from William Wordsworth on building on the past. We've got great leaders in Sarpy County. We have a great start from the present leaders and the past leaders that we have. A little history on the courthouse. The courthouse actually started in Bellevue in the old bank building. These are just some of the historical pictures, but part of what we do as a board and administration is make plans for the buildings. And so the most recent building that's up and running is the 1102 building that has the assessor's office and the treasurer's office. And we work on a master plan to try to plan many years into the future, since we're the fastest growing county in the state. There's a lot going on in Sarpy County, and that requires some detailed planning over time. Our next building that's currently very close to being completed is the Correctional Center. The Correctional Center has a dedicated behavioral health unit. We're very proud of that in terms of mental health initiatives. It's about 150,000 square feet and has 364 beds. We're working with DLR Group and J.E. Dunn on that project. It's expandable up to 600 beds. And we're very close to being done. We expect that facility to be open in the fall. Just a little on history, just to keep you awake since I'm the last speaker. A little groundbreaking of the last jail, which happened in 1989, versus our present groundbreaking for this facility that was 2021. Also the construction of the old jail versus the new jail. You can see that that corridor looks pretty different now from what it did then. A lot happens in a short period of time. Also, just for fun, and also to keep you awake, just a little bit of historical reference to some of our current leaders. This is the county board. I need to have a conversation with my mother about matching denim leisure suits. I'm not sure what happened there. Some of us have changed a lot, some of us not so much. I'll let you pick who's who there. Also, some of our current leaders, Dan Moynes, our county administrator, our 2 athletes, and Scott Rowick, our deputy county administrator. They helped the board hone in on 5 very different and distinct opinions on what should be done and make a plan that we can work on together, which is not an easy job these days. We also have great leadership in our elected officials, and I managed to strong-arm these 3 people to give me pictures that from the past. We have 3 people that have served a long time in Sarpy County and really have made great impacts here, and we're grateful for their service. The first is Lee Polikoff, our county attorney, and Lee's been the leader on many mental health initiatives and really has done a good job of reaching out and being collaborative on making an impact there. Deb Hoteling's our county clerk. She's served in her office for over 45 years, is the face of great customer and public service, and she and her team really work hard to be the face of the county in that area. And finally, Sheriff Davis, he's the one that took the most strong arming to get the picture, but I managed to do it by leveraging his wife. The sheriff's been serving a long time in Sarpy County as well. These are 3 great leaders. The sheriff continues to bring collaborative and modern methods to keep our citizens safe while using best practices for individuals suffering from mental illness who enter our criminal justice system. The top picture is the old jail. It's currently scheduled to be demolished. We looked at several options for repurposing the old jail, but it really doesn't meet any current standards, and it's very difficult to repurpose a jail based on the way that it's constructed. So we probably will be demolishing it and using it for parking. The bottom picture is the current correctional facility that should be open coming this fall, along with the courtroom that's in the jail that needed an upgrade from the old jail. We're moving in the correctional facility to a direct supervision model. which is different from what we use now, and that's required some changes in the way that we do things. That model is shown statistically to be a better model in terms of safety and better outcomes for both staff, the corrections officers, reduction of violence, noise, vandalism, things of that nature. So we're trying to be sure that we follow best practices and work as a team together to bring those things to fruition. Talking next a little bit about our mental health initiatives. People in a mental health crisis are more likely to enter the criminal justice system today than they are to receive the medical treatment that they need. In our county, we work very collaboratively to make impactful changes because of that. The criminal justice system is not the best place for somebody that has a serious mental illness. We find that about 22% of the inmates in Sarpy County Jail are suffering from a serious mental illness. There's a revolving door in our jail of people in and out, so we're not currently making an impact in changing through the criminal justice system that people come in and out, and that causes a number of problems. One, doesn't make a difference for those individuals. It's also time consuming and costly and isn't solving any problems. I would liken it to having somebody that's diabetic having an episode because their blood sugar is really high or really low, and you take them to the jail to solve that problem. It doesn't solve the medical issue. It doesn't solve any long-term problems to not have medical care around that issue. And the criminal justice system is not designed to deal with the medical issue. And that's kind of the problem that we're having with individuals that have a serious medical issue, being in the jail. It's not the place where treatment is really focused on the things that they need, and the environment itself is not conducive to improving what's going on with them. So we're trying very hard as a county, and we have a lot of really good partnerships to try to make a difference there and do something different. The things that we're doing are training law enforcement. We have the first Sheriff's Office mental health unit offering alternatives to jail. We launched the Nebraska's first wellness court, opening a behavioral health unit in the jail, and the state's first psychiatry fellowship with UNMC. So first on the behavioral health unit, ideally somebody suffering from a mental illness wouldn't be in the jail. The studies show that it's better to have treatment outside of the jail, so we'll talk about that a little more in a minute, but some individuals have to be in jail. They just do, based on the nature of the crime that they've committed. And so we have designed the jail to have a dedicated behavioral health unit that's designed specifically for treatment of those individuals. It's 28 beds, it's separate from the other medical area, which meets best practices, and will be staffed by mental health professionals, as opposed to just people without a background in that. We also have the state's first forensic psychiatry fellowship. We're really excited about that program. That's a groundbreaking program that really is one of the first nationwide. And it's a partnership with UNMC to have a forensic psychiatry fellowship to train people to be psychiatrists in this area. And specifically providing both treatment, medication, which is a problem. You need to have somebody there that's able to stabilize and keep people on the medication that they need, and provide court testimony and reports, and the hope is eventually we can expand that to help deal with competency and other issues. But we just found out that Dr. Howard Liu, who's our liaison with UNMC, who's worked hard for us to get this program up and running, has secured the program director, which is what we've been waiting on. So there'll be an announcement on who that is coming up shortly, but that will get us off the ground and running with that program. So really exciting there to get moving. The partnership on making this impactful difference includes the Sheriff's Office, the County Attorney, the Public Defender, Region 6 Behavioral Health Care, the County Board, and UNMC. And it's a good partnership working together. The jails nationwide have really become the nation's largest mental health hospital. And because we aren't making any impactful differences there, we have to do something different to make a change. This is just a quote from Dr. Liu talking about the difference that the psychiatry fellowship will make. Our Sheriff's Office Mental Health Unit, I talked a little bit about the sheriff before, having different programs that are available to make a difference in this part of the treatment. And this is Sergeant Rob Hillebrand, who heads up a lot of the sheriff's different mental health initiatives and works really hard at that. It's really good. There's about 340 referrals made by law enforcement to the Sheriff's Office Mental Health Unit. So typically that's somebody that's having a mental health crisis and there isn't a place to take them, so they call for law enforcement. Prior to our Sheriff's Department having training and things of that nature, there really wasn't training or any knowledge about dealing with an individual suffering from a mental health crisis. Now the Sheriff's Office does do training along with the 5 cities police departments as well. But when you see of those 340 referrals, only 5 of them were actually arrested. So most of them are not crimes, they're people in crisis. 10 were issued citations. So how you treat those individuals makes a big difference in the long-term impact, and to try to reduce the revisiting of the jail multiple times without solving any problems. Because our system lacks sufficient resources for treatment, and those individuals are entering the criminal justice system, that system is really just not designed to deal with individuals with mental health issues. But we're trying to do the best that we can for when they do enter the system. But the low number of people that are actually referred out to either being arrested or having a ticket or entering the Board of Mental Health, that number is low, mostly due to the efforts of our Sheriff's Department to minimize their contact with the criminal justice system when they can, and instead get them over to services that would make a difference. We also have the first wellness court in the state of Nebraska. Also exciting pilot program that was started in 2021. We've had 2 graduates that have completed that program. It's an 18-month program. It's voluntary, so they have to volunteer to enter the program and go through it. It takes about 18 months, gives them a closer tie to both court personnel, access to different things that will make a difference, like securing housing, dealing with drug and alcohol issues, employment. It's focused more on making impactful difference for people suffering from mental illness. We've had 2 graduates that have completed that program since it's new, and there are currently 21 participants, and that program's going really well so far. Just a quote from one of those 2 graduates, really talking about how that court has made a difference for her. The Supreme Court, our Chief Justice said at a talk we went to that it costs about $30,000 a year for an inmate in jail versus somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 for a person in wellness court. So not only is it making more of an impactful difference in helping those people, it also is a better use of the tax dollars with an actual outcome that's helpful. Sarpy County is also a nationally recognized Stepping Up innovator. The Stepping Up initiative is one that we partner with Region 6 Behavioral Health Care on. And the Stepping Up is a program that has 550 counties across the United States, and it's an initiative to reduce the over-incarceration of people with mental illness. We are working on a next step, and that's a crisis stabilization center. We're in the very early stages of talking through that process. So part of the issue with somebody suffering from a mental illness is when the sheriff or law enforcement is called and somebody's in mental health crisis, there aren't a lot of options for where to take them. Currently, they either end up in the ER and sit for a long period of time in the ER, or they end up in jail and sit for a long period of time in jail with resources in either place really to deal with the issues that they're suffering from. So we're looking as a team at the possibility of securing a crisis stabilization center. Tom Dargy, who's our lead on mental health initiatives, is looking at the possibility of location, funding, and a plan going forward, but that's the next thing we're looking at as an option to be impactful there. Moving on to growth opportunities in South Sarpy, just a little bit on the sewer agency, since you've heard some already. This picture just shows how much development is in the northern part of Sarpy County versus you can see a lot less development in the southern part. And that's because we don't have unified sewer in the southern part. The Hunden Strategic Partners did a study about what an impact the sewer agency of this kind would make for Sarpy County. And these were the findings of that group. $15.7 billion in tax revenue for the state of Nebraska, 4,700 plus new full-time jobs, $37 billion in net new spending, $24 billion in net new earnings. So really big impact to create unified sewer. Part of the problem is it takes a collaboration to do that. And really proud of the Sarpy partners, the 5 cities and the county working together to come up in a time where there's lots of division, to come together and create something that's going to be this impactful. It really says a lot. And I congratulate the 5 cities in the county. I wasn't the person sitting on the board, so I can say I'm super proud of their effort to get this done. It's a unique partnership. It's also the first in the state of its kind, so an innovative way to solve the problem of not having sewer. It required collaboration, and it required giving in by everybody of some things in order to get it done. Just a little bit on the agreement there. The organization chart of the sewer agency is just the 5 cities in the county. There's about 42,000 acres of shovel-ready land for development in that area, which is why the numbers are so big from the Hunden study. This is where showing just the phases of construction. So that orange line is the ridge line that Mayor Black talked about before, and this is where the phases are. So the 2 areas that are currently under construction are that dark blue line and the light blue line coming down. So, and as you go by, you can see that there's lots of pipe laying around. That's what's happening there. A little better map just shows the cross streets to show where that's going. And you can see in this map that how many housing developments are in the northern versus in the southern. So it really is going to make an impact to get that sewer agency up and running. Eventually then, there would be another phase that would go out towards the Gretna area. Moving on to the Platteview Road Expressway. This video was created by our partner HDR, and it shows on the bottom is the current corridor for Platteview Road, and the top is the potential corridor based on planning. And so it goes all the way through. The thing about Platteview Road, and Mayor Black talked about it, it really is an important corridor. It's going to need to have complementary east to west roadway networks to go with it. It's going to create connectivity to regional attractions. It'll bolster economic growth, serve local traffic, and be an alternate route for incidents on I-80. It really is a big connector piece. And if you add in that the sewer agency is going to provide all this development in that southern area, Platteview Road is really an important piece for us in planning. The thing to know about it, though, is it takes a long-term plan to create the Herculean effort that's depicted in this video. So it's good to have vision, but the vision really can't be accomplished unless you break that down into a plan, you have a funding source, and you go through a plan year by year to get to that point, which is what we're working on now. We've got lots of partners involved there that are trying to come together to have something detailed so that we can get to this point in the future. The projected growth demands moving from a 2-lane highway eventually to a 4-lane expressway, so that's going to require really long-term planning. The current volume of vehicles on Platteview Road is about 6,000 vehicles a day, and the projected volume in 2050 is 40,000 vehicles a day based on projections that are made. So really have to have a long-term plan there. It is a critical Omaha Metro Beltway, and it's needing a strategic plan to help serve the 1.3 million people who live within an hour drive of Sarpy County. The portion of the expressway that spans Highway 75 in Bellevue to 108th Street in Springfield is at 60% design, and that lets us move on to the next step for that portion's long-term detailed plans. Those are being made at this time, and then mapping out future steps to completion. The segment west of 108th Street is under design, and that's why it shows a couple of options there that are available, but they're still working through the possibilities of design there. So the plan would be 3 phases there, starting down on Highway 75 and then going out to I-80. So it's funny how when I was looking back for pictures, I thought, wow, 30 years can really go by fast. It doesn't seem like it's been 30 years for a lot of things, but it can go by quick. 30 years ago, I was graduating from law school, actually, at Creighton Law School. And so I looked back at some pictures there, and the first is from my final year of law school. Everyone was a little anxious to get done, take the bar, and find a job because the student loan payments were going to be coming due. So our senior class officers came up with a t-shirt to sell in order to raise money for the class party that year. This is the t-shirt. Took me a little bit of running around to find it, but the person who modeled for the t-shirt is this person, our current public defender, Tom Straight. I did get his permission to put it up, but it seems very Tom. This is also a picture from 30 years ago. This is the 1993 Babes Bar softball team. And when I saw this picture, I thought, I can't believe it's been that long, because it doesn't seem like it's been that long ago, but it's been 30 years ago. There's some familiar faces in this picture. I'll give you a hint. 3 of them are Richards brothers. 2 of them are Richards brothers in the pictures. 3 are McLaughlin brothers. There's 2 Burmeisters in the picture. There's a Feynman and there's a Davidson in that picture. And I would have included a picture of Babe's Bar, but to be truly a great dive bar, you have to look exactly the same 30 years apart. So I didn't think it would be helpful to have a picture. Their bar looks exactly the same. But lots of leaders who've done lots of things over a 30-year period of time. Time goes by quick. We really have to have a good plan to make a plan for the future that brings a vision that we have to fruition for our next group of leaders, these people. A plan to bring a vision to fruition almost always requires collaboration. We're very divided in government today. You see that across the board. I'm very proud to be part of Sarpy County where there are lots of collaborations, but we'll need that going forward to make sure we make a difference and make sure that we leave for this generation the great things that the generation before us left for us. Thanks so much.